Yeah, so today I'm going out to the Biosphere 2. I don't know if you know of Biosphere, but it was built for a experimental project. People were supposed to live in it with no contact outside of the biosphere for a couple years because they wanted to see if they could recreate atmosphere, so maybe we could put it on the moon or Mars or wherever, or if Earth goes to kaplooey, maybe help rebuild Earth. But yeah, there was a movie in the 90s, I believe. It has Pauly Shore in it. It's Biosphere. So I remember very little of that movie. I know I saw bits and pieces. I don't think I see the whole thing. So maybe that's something I should watch. I'm not a big movie watcher though, so I'll, look into it. But I'm going to get ready and head out, and yeah, we'll see what we can get into today. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, guys. An hour later, we've made it to Biosphere 2. It was a science experiment to see if they could build, the whole thing off-grid so people can live, yada, yada, yada. I can explain more when I have better words and terminology for it. So, yeah, I will check back in with you once I get inside and pay the admission fee, and talk to you later.
The facility, but by chance, if you forgot yours, you can purchase one in our gift shop. Also, the environments and the weather can vary, so when you come, we recommend wearing layered clothing because the temperature is about 50-50. Half of it's inside, half of it's outside. Remember that everything inside Biosphere 2 is going to be tropical or subtropical in nature. That means it's going to be hot and humid. So layered clothing is ideal for you to be the most comfortable. Your visit is critical to the continued operation here at Biosphere 2 because without your support, we cannot continue to do the research and education initiatives that we have. Thank you very much for visiting today.
Where do I go? Do I follow the red arrows? I'm going to follow the red arrows. Okay. Ah, okay. Okay, well, guess I'm just gonna follow these red arrows. Okay. Scenic overlook.
But so does the property. We are nestled here at the base of the Santa Catalina Mountains and on the edge of the Sonoran Desert. The property has been inhabited for thousands of years, initially by indigenous people. And then in the 1920s, it was homesteaded by Dr. Lackner, a dentist in Tucson who ran a small cattle ranch and hunting lodge. Then, in 1957, Lady Margaret of Suffolk purchased the property. She built a Spanish-style home on the eastern end, complete with servant quarters and a pool. And then she sold the property to the Motorola Corporation, who continued to build out the infrastructure. That included a 27-room hotel, a restaurant, as well as a 120-seat auditorium for executive training sessions, and also for the facility to act as a retreat. After that, by virtue of a land swap, the University of Arizona Foundation acquired the property in the late 70s. They continued to operate the facility as an executive training center and retreat. And in 1984, they sold the property to Space Biosphere Ventures, who continued to build out the infrastructure and built Biosphere 2.
Okay, let's go to the next stop.
In 1984, Space Biosphere Ventures purchased this property and they started to build it out. Over here you can see the test module, which was used as a prototype prior to building Biosphere 2. Next to that are the greenhouses that they used to quarantine plants and animals prior to putting them inside the facility. And then the analytical lab, which is where they used stored instrumentation and took water and soil samples. And then directly behind me here in the Arch building is the former mission control. This is where people monitored everything happening inside when the Biospherians lived in Biosphere 2.
In 1987, they broke ground for Biosphere 2. What's remarkable is it only took them 4 years to build this over 3-acre facility, complete with a tropical rainforest, an ocean, a savanna, a marsh, a desert, an agricultural area, and a living quarters. Just like our houses, they had complete kitchen, dining area, apartments, bathrooms, workout facilities. In doing so, they created an environment that they hoped they would be able to live inside, and they successfully did for 2 years. Now, they faced some challenges, as one might expect. Just like anybody who's confined in spaces, they face social and psychological challenges. The farm area wasn't as productive as they hoped and did not give them adequate calories, although they were okay from a nutritional standpoint. And one of the big challenges they faced is that the very rich soils they put in the rainforest and in the former farm area supported a very diverse and abundant microbial communities. Those microbes are just like you and I. They take in oxygen, they give off CO2. Well, it was that respiration that outpaced plant photosynthesis. Remember, photosynthesis takes in CO2, water, splits it, and gives off oxygen, which we use to breathe. Well, that balance wasn't quite right inside Biosphere 2, and it dropped down to nearly 14.2%. Outside is 21%. Inside Biosphere 2 at about the day 500 of this 2-year mission. They ended up, because they felt that it was needed for the safety of the Biospherians, adding oxygen into the system. In doing so, though, one of the big mistakes, in my opinion, was they were not forthcoming with this. And in fact, they did not tell the public that they had to do so. And this was a project that was so widely and highly publicized. They had to retract some statements. And we all know what happens when you do those types of things. It's very difficult to recover. And it was a result where they lost tremendous amounts of credibility, not only with the scientific community, but with the media and the public. But they did successfully complete the 2-year mission. They had a short intermission, and then another group, this time of 7 versus 8, were sealed inside Biosphere 2, but only for about 6 months. It was at this time that the original ownership group decided that they were going to transition the facility away from a human habitation experiment and more towards an earth and environmental science experiment with the help of Columbia University. So they began a partnership with Columbia University. Columbia University officially took over management in January of 1996 and began to build out and repurpose Biosphere 2 so it could be used more formally as an earth and environmental science laboratory. About 7 years into Columbia University's tenure, there was a decision made because of an administration change at Columbia University that they were no longer going to continue management of this remarkable facility.
In 2007, the University of Arizona assumed management of Biosphere 2 and eventual ownership in 2011. The reason that the University of Arizona was interested in taking over this facility is because there are research questions that we can answer here that we can't answer anywhere else. Inside Biosphere 2, we have a fully established tropical rainforest, the world's largest experimental ocean, and a massive earth science research project called LEO, the Landscape Evolution Observatory. As you tour today, you will learn more about the research going on in each of those areas.
With more information on it, plus the pictures are of the real people.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the Upper Human Habitat. For this part of your experience, we invite you to view some historical productions shot in the early 90s that give you an inside look of what it was like to be a Biospherian.
The kitchen was designed to have every modern time-saving convenience possible. Major appliances included dishwashers,
staircase, I guess that goes up to like the bedroom. That's their apartment they've lived in for 10 years. Ugh. These big ships are boring.
This is the Landscape Evolution Observatory, and you're looking at the world's largest laboratory earth science experiment. What this experiment does is it tries to answer important questions like, when it rains in the mountains, how much of that drinking water actually makes it to our aquifers and our supplies for us to use? And you would think that's common knowledge, but it's actually surprisingly not well known. Behind me, you'll see one of 3 large hill slope landscapes. And these landscapes were designed to be able to study the underground movement of water extremely well. The way we do that is that we've submerged thousands of sensors that can measure water, we can measure gas and other properties of the soil subsurface. We've buried those sensors into the ground, built our landscape around those sensors, and now we can use a sprinkler system to rain across our landscape and track and measure where that water goes.
I guess this is one of the habitat. Should take a picture of the fig tree and some creepy. Banana. Key lime.
Biosphere 2 from exploding and imploding when it was a sealed environment. As the sun is heating the building, air inside the building is expanding. And if there hadn't been a release for that air, another place for volume control, air volume control, that building would have blown up. The air moves to that chamber in order to alleviate the pressure of the Biosphere 2 glass building. Here we are inside the lung. This pressure, dude.
Area that kind of serves as a transition zone between desert and the more tropical regions that you'll find up above. Originally, when Biosphere was built, this was an area that was summer active, so this area would produce oxygen during the summer, as opposed to the desert where you just were a moment ago that region is active. Mines from this area were brought in from places like Mexico and Madagascar, some of them rather close to our southern border down here. But it's one of the nice areas in here where we get a nice full canopy that covers up a nice cool area. And we come to the area, this is an area that was originally planted with lots and lots of plants, but over the years they've all died out and have disappeared. So our research kind of is pushing us in the direction where we're looking at and security. And so we want to really look at this more than an area where we can plant here plants that are useful, and then there's some population here. So going there are some bioplants, we've got avocado trees, we've got coffee, and other miscellaneous fruits, rural areas. And so this area kind of gives us a and gives us an opportunity to where this can happen our so what we're doing
saltwater system is 700,000 gallons of water. It has a weight wall, a heat exchanger that allows it to control the temperature, and also a green tank all protected. This is another very neat study. During the original experiment, we had to make tropical coral reefs. They would use insect living to let the corals fish and movement and tank that inside of Biosphere 2. This system was incredibly successful in the middle of the Sonora Desert. In 1996, Columbia University took over management of Biosphere 2, and they were very concentrated on CO2. They wanted to see how increased CO2 in the atmosphere affected coral reefs, and they were able to do a stunning scientific experiment by increasing the CO2 of the ocean and seeing that really stressed out these corals. And they were able to see the effect of ocean acidification right here in this ocean. Now after that experiment, after Columbia left, there wasn't much management of the Biosphere 2 ocean, so those corals ended up dying over time. So right now we do not have any living corals in the Biosphere 2 ocean. However, we will soon. Our new research experiment is really focusing on understanding the resiliency of corals under heat stress. We know all over the world our oceans getting warmer. We see it happening, and we see it regularly in our forest. So what we are doing is we are working with partner institutions, about 50 in and out of partner institutions, identifying the solutions to this coral reef crisis.
Savannah. The Savannah was designed as a hydrologic transition zone from the rainforest to the coastal boggas. So what this means is that we go from a really warm, moist, humid environment to something that is significantly drier. That's the transition. And what's unique about Savannah is that not only is it a hydrologic transition zone, but also the plants that were put inside of the system have a specific purpose. They were designed to provide seed pods, and organelles, and birds that were intended to be introduced into Biosphere 2.
Alright guys, we're going to go into the rainforest. Oof. Uh-oh. I have my good camera that should not get wet. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in here. We're just going to check. Because, yeah. Okay. Well, I hope you guys saw a little bit something in there, but I was not going to risk my camera. It's actually cool in here, and I got 33% left on my battery. Hopefully we're almost done. Oh, wow. I feel so much cooler now. Feels like a lot cooler out here. It's like 100 degrees. And it was so hot in the ocean room and the desert. It felt like home, where we get humidity of like 90% with 95 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna get to the next area and we'll pick up there.
The buildings that you are amongst make up our casita village. There are 28 Santa Fe style casitas. They range in size from 3 to 5 bedrooms. We have both single and double story. And typically our conference attendees use these for overnight accommodations. We have nearly 100 rooms. And not only do our conference attendees use it, but also visiting researchers and school groups. And so if you're interested in learning more about these accommodations, please visit our website and go to the Conference Center tab.
All right, guys, that's pretty much it. I did run through the rainforest, and I didn't listen to all the tourist stops. Some of them were just a little too wordy and not that interesting. So I hope you liked this, and yeah, so we'll be seeing you real soon. I don't know what's going on for the rest of the day. This was pretty much what I had planned. It is just a little after 2. So yeah, I'll talk to y'all later. Okay guys, so Biosphere was pretty cool. But they had some prickly pear lemonade that I could buy in the gift shop. I was thirsty and I was told to try some prickly pear lemonade, so I thought, why not? It was only $9. Huge 32-ounce mason jar of it. I did open it and take a sip, and that is pretty delicious and very refreshing. So yeah, I highly recommend some prickly pear lemonade.